Well, what they called me was Máire Elizabeth Anderson. My date of birth was 12th of February 1929. My father was called Gerard Anderson.
Yes.
And my mother was Elizabeth, but she went as Lily Herbert. There were 10 of us all together, yes. There were 5 boys and 5 girls. Well, my dad had his own business. He was a cabinet maker, but coming close to the end of the war, they couldn't get timber for furniture. But he always had it in his mind to go to California and that all the family would be around him, not realising that I certainly wouldn't go. I was a real homebird. And I felt, why should I leave Ireland?
Right. You wanted to stick it out?
Stick it out. Yes, indeed.
I didn't want to leave Ireland, no. I wouldn't dream of foreign dancing. My father had us steeped in history, so no, I wouldn't dream of foreign dancing. But close to the end of the war, they couldn't get the timber. My father closed his business, he was a cabinet maker, and he'd always had it in his mind to go to California, that the family would be all around him, his wife and children. But I was a home bird, they booked the passage to leave. I was a home bird, they got on board the Queen Mary.
Did you go to the train station to see your mother off? And
Don't talk to me. That was another terrible thing. We went down by taxis, down to the station. They were going to Rosslare on the railway at that time.
Right.
So she was there on the train, and we were kind of talking as well as we could. The small kids were delighted going on the train, you see. And the next thing, they blew the whistle. And Mum, I was the eldest girl, you see, Mum and myself were very close. And she put her head out the window and she said, Máire, she said, what am I going to do without you? But I felt thunder.
The next thing they blew the whistle on my mother, the scream she gave, I can still hear that in my mind at times. The scream she gave, she said, Máire, what am I going to do without you? The train's leaving and I was breaking the platform, sobbing, my heart crying. Dying day, the day they started off for America. The small kids dilated on the train, you see, for Queen Mary. But it was a tragedy to me. I was just 19.
I came back to Cork, and the one thing that I'll never forget to my dying day, we had terrazzo in the hall, and I turned the key in the door to come in, and I started to walk and I stopped suddenly. For the first time in my life, I heard my footsteps in the hall, because you could hear nothing with children running around, you know. Kids were in and out all that time. That front door was always open, the back door, and they'd be in and out flying, and you wouldn't hear anything. And my mother, she turned the radio up high sometimes because the kids would be shouting, Sarah, I won't hear them now. I turn up the radio up fully. And she'd have the radio up fully and the kids, you know. My mother and myself, we were very close. I was the eldest girl, of course.
Yes.
And then I'd always help out. And Mother was a marvellous dressmaker, and I picked up from her. So, she was. And I picked it up from her, and I'd be making my sisters and brothers' clothes, you know.
Right.
My mother went as Lily. I was her eldest girl. We were very close. I used to be helping her. My mother was a dressmaker. I picked it up from her. I'd be making my sisters and brothers clothes. I'd be there. Beautiful puddings and cakes she used to make. I'd be thinking Christmas. Then I'd be making the cakes. I picked it up from her. I just watched her.
She phoned to say they all had arrived safely, you know. She said, when I get a house, I'll write to you then, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I was break my heart crying then, like, as well, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think she realised I was,
You were trying to hide.
because I didn't want to hide it on her.
Uh-huh.
But she said, well, she said, it's like this now, she said. We've made a new life, she said. I was lucky to meet your dad, she said. And I said to Mum, he was lucky to meet you too, like, you know. Ah, yes, she said, but we were very lucky because she said, with all the ups and downs, like, and she being in bed sick for 2 years and all that, she said he was very young and he could just buzzed off, like, you know.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, with the kids around her then. But she settled in there, like, you know, but it must have been shocking for her and her mother here as well.
She phoned to say they had arrived. She said, when I get a house, I'll write to you then. Well, she said, it's like this now. She said, we've made a new life. And I was lucky. I was lucky to meet your dad with all the ups and downs. I was lucky. He was very young and he could have just buzzed off. But I was lucky. Well, I don't think she realized it, because I'd want to hide it on her. But I was breaking my heart, crying, thinking I'd never see them again now. Cause I had no money to go out, and they had no money to come back. Cause I had no money to go out, and they had no money to come back.
Did you ever regret not going?
Never.
Never.
Never. When they were gone now, actually enough, like, it was an awful heartbreak. And I was here till I was 21 before we got married. We were getting married then on Christopher's birthday, which was the 16th of June. And Christopher was transferred down and I was on my own. So he said, we'll get married at Easter instead. Of course, I was delighted. So we brought the wedding forward, and we got married on Easter Monday, which was the 10th of April, and delighted with life. And then when the kids came along, well, they livened us up a bit anyway. What is amazing, the things that happen, isn't it?